Oh, I forgot to put my green screen up. I hope you guys liked that. No green screen jump scare. Oh man, a closed LGS. That's no fun. That sucks. Today isn't the Lorwyn drop, right? Isn't that next Friday? We got dude. Oh hey Scott, you got your deck today. Kemper Keys, Ethan, Otter Pirate, CEPWW Peck. I think that's a little bit of a new name to me. I don't remember your name. What's up, Maraway? What's up, Earl Maid? Tomorrow's Lorwyn pre-release. Got it. And then next Friday is when I will be receiving my boxes, I'm assuming. Let's check that. Checking my orders here. I think I get my Lorwyn boxes next Friday. I don't know when I get mine. Huh? Oh. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pre-release, they start selling product immediately. Yeah. It just doesn't tell me when I'm receiving my boxes. Yeah, mine just straight up doesn't tell me when I'm receiving my boxes. I don't know. What's up, Grashiash? Yeah. Yeah. I personally don't purchase from my LGSs anymore that are nearby, so I order it from another one. Mine are a bit expensive, so I order from one that I can get a good price at. Very excited for today's decks. We got Lukum, That Dude Scott, Code Exorcist, Clout Cobain, Kingfish, and Zombie today. Ooh. Yes, someone has beaten me to the first message on chat before, and I was like, it turns out they had left my stream on from the day before, so it popped up like that I was streaming again, and then they immediately like, oh hey, I'm first, and did it before I could. It was really funny. No work. Gotcha, Robin Hood. Well, tomorrow is our big extreme stream extravaganza, so super excited. I'll be announcing that tonight. We're doing a Magic Fights Cancer stream. So very excited about that. Right now, I'm deciding whether or not I want to do decks tomorrow or just giveaway. I'm still looking into it. Oh, great, Earl Maid. And Earl Maid, if for some reason tomorrow isn't a good day, are we still good to do it next week? So, like, because I'm thinking about delaying it so we can build up hype and, like, so people know. What do you think? Because what we could do is still stream tomorrow, but just do decks. And then next week we would be able to like build hype for the massive stream. and probably get some other people to like retweet it and stuff. We're streaming tomorrow no matter what. I just want to make sure. Let me put on some kind of hype music. What am I thinking today? Some Yusuf Days, some Alpha Mist. What kind of music am I thinking today for the background? How do I want to hype us up? Yeah, I agree with that. Well, we can just catch up. We'll catch up on decks tomorrow. I think that's what most people want. I think most people would prefer I do a massive catch-up day tomorrow. Because if we do tomorrow, we'll be completely done with... We'll finish the last deck from November and get a good chunk of the way through December. You want to do a massive deck day tomorrow? Like, tons of decks? That works for me. That'd be pretty hype. All right. Let's do it. Let's get started today, everybody. Everyone ready? Let's get some decks going, baby. Let's get some custom decks rolling. All right, everybody. Our first deck of the day from Lucum is a Bracket 4 Hearth Hole the World Seed. I don't really want house music behind me today, actually. Let me... This is a little much. But you know what? We'll do these. These are kind of fun. Ooh, wait a minute. There we go. Everyone, let's talk about Bracket 4 Hearth Hole the World Sea. Totally agree, Ethan. So, Hearth Hole the World Sea, black, red, green, is one of the new legendary spacecrafts that can now be your commander as of the rules change. And it says you can, for one colorless, tap, sacrifice a land, draw 2 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. And then it has Flying Vigilance and Haste once it's docked with 8 power. And whenever you sacrifice a land, each opponent loses 2 life. Specifically, I was requested to make a Hearth Hole deck, like you're seeing here, that goes for a massive one-shot. So we're trying to do big, nasty one-shot the board with a Hearth Hole. Whenever you sacrifice land, each opponent loses 2 life. So we want to do a massive land sacrifice. Obviously, as you guys know, it says Scape Shift, sacrifice any number of lands. Boom, 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 boom. So we just need to sacrifice 20 lands. So the idea is we want to get like 15 to 20 lands on the battlefield, and then we want to sacrifice everything after having docked enough power into Hearth Hole. We only need to dock 8. It's not a ton, but that does mean we need to have a fair amount of creatures to do so. So we're rocking a package of 27 creatures. It's not the biggest, it's not the least. And it's a lot of extra mana producers too. So that when you don't need the mana, they can be used to dock. And then we do have some creatures with some significant power for low mana, like Wayward Swordtooth and Lumra. that will be really great for us to dock and get started going with it soon. But the biggest thing definitely is getting at least 2 power docked, you know, just so you can start sacking lands and drawing cards, which obviously that means you need to be able to play lands from your graveyard. So we do have a fair amount of those effects. I think one of the best ways to do so with this, hell yeah, dude, I love it. Yeah, Johnny, yeah, there we go. One of my favorite ways to abuse this commander is using Realms Uncharted. Search your library for 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those, and then the rest go to your hand. And let me make sure I added it. I didn't. Okay, let me fix this. There we go. And one of the best cards, oh, I did have it, never mind, is Shifting Woodlands. And so you kind of give them this like non-choice on one of the lands, because Shifting Woodlands can copy anything in your graveyard, so they're always going to choose to put that to your graveyard. And then Strip Mine, because then they know you can start replaying Strip Mine and constantly destroying their lands, and you can just keep replaying Strip Mine from your graveyard. Strip Mine is one of the most powerful cards in this deck. It's absolutely disgusting. The idea is that you can consistently sack it and then play it from your graveyard with cards like Ice-Till Explorer in your deck. Just disgusting ways to do so. And then obviously we want to have things that sacrifice lands, so I've included instances such as Harrow, and like we talked about earlier, Scapeshift, and other ways for us to sack lands to Sylvan, like to creatures like Sylvan Safekeeper and Elvish Reclaimer. Elvish Reclaimer says, for 2 colors tap, sacrifice a land, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, and then shuffle your library. And so, of course, to get a ton of mana, we're going to go grab Gaia's Cradle, which is really hype. Or if we want to copy something in our graveyard, we're normally grabbing Shifting Woodlands. But if the game plan's good, we don't need the excess mana, go grab that Strip Mine, start just nasty sacking it against your opponents. There is an angle for this deck to not play any of the fast mana. Like, take out Chrome Mox, tape out Lotus Petal, take out Mox Diamond, and instead play all of the spells within green that stop artifacts. So you basically also shut down everyone's artifacts, and you can mass sack their lands. So you can go pretty nasty angles with this list. And a secondary portion of a win con for this deck is, generally speaking, you're going to have so many lands and ways to sacrifice anyway. The Scapeshift doesn't have to be the main win con. And then on top of this, you know, a couple hits from the commander will kill somebody, and it is Flying Vigilance Haste. So, you know, you can always get someone down pretty harshly with that. Oi, what's up, Blaneable? This deck primarily looks for an opening hand with a minimum of 1 Mana Dork and 1 extra land drop spell. So I would never, ever in a million years keep a hand without a Mana Dork and an extra land spell / ramp spell. What's up, Wacky Pizza Man? Yeah, sneak peek on the beanies, y'all. Beanies coming. Excited about that. Woo. Largely, if you want to succeed in a deck like this, yeah, so exactly, Kemper Keys, Sylvan Safekeeper, yeah. So with this like obsessive level of being able to consistently sack lands outside of just Scapeshift to do it massive, you're gonna ping down the table really quick. So opening hands must consist of at least 1 Mana Dork and then either 1 ramp spell or 1 extra land spell. So now let's talk about some stuff. Oh no, Blaneable, normal day. We did all our announcements yesterday. Yeah, normal day today. Nothing nutty. We are going to do a big catch-up day tomorrow instead of doing the cancer stream tomorrow, because I'm going to be reaching out to some other YouTube channels to help us, so we can do a larger donation fund for them. And I also got sent a lot of product by my sponsors to give away for those streams, so it'll give us time to get some of those items in for me to show physically on stream. Tomorrow we're going to do deck catch-up as well as a card conduit plug, and I'm going to be doing some card sorting, so that we'll be getting to hang out and chat and do some sorting together. So a nice backup commander to this deck is Loot Exuberant Explorer. Loot themselves has an additional land drop on each of your turns, but then also for 6 mana you can tap it, kind of like cannon spinning, where you look at the top cards of your library, you may reveal a creature and put it onto the battlefield. And so last time I was playing this deck, I got loot out on turn 2, and then on turn 3, between a mana dork and now 5 lands on my battlefield, we were able to tap loot, and I hit Ice-Till Explorer off the top, and then was able to play fetches from my graveyards that turn in order to get those extra land drops, which is really hype. And then was able to dock Hearthhole by the next turn with all the power I had on board after docking Ice-Till that turn. And then I went for a turn 5 win with, I think it was, I had 14 lands out by turn 5. Yeah, I had 14 lands out turn 5, and then I scape shifted. That was, I'm pretty sure that was how the practice game went. So if you guys are in the mood for a land-centric deck that isn't landfall, Hearthhole is very, very, very fun. Would you guys like to see this play tested? You guys want to see me try this one out for a little bit, or is everyone understanding how to play this one? I don't want to miss the opportunity to teach if anyone would like it. Going once. Going twice. Sounds like we're good. Cool. That dude Scott. Okay, let's read this submission, because I am not getting crucified for what you made me do. This is on you. Scott, let's grab your submission. Okay, Scott. Everyone, hold on. Come close. I am not responsible for what the hell you're about to see. It wasn't my idea. I don't condone this behavior, but will I enable it for $50? Yes. So, everybody, I'll read this out a little dramatically because it's fun. You know, why not? Hello, DevCat. I want a deck that tells people no. Oh, you want to use your graveyard? No. Oh, you want to use multiple colored mana sources in one turn? No. Oh, you want to cast your commander? No. It can stay in the command zone. If you could do like a Derevi, that's fine. But I want something different than stacks is possible. I want to turn off ETBs, LTBs, everything. This deck should only be about turning things off. I figured the deck would need an alternative win con. I'm perfectly fine for that. I prefer no infinite combos unless it's a 3 or more card specific. So, we have officially pertained that this deck will not have counterspells. It's about turning things off. No counterspells. No infinites. No infinites. And we are going for the full-on no game plan. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not proud to present that dude Scott, Myrel, Shield of Argive. So, Argive, I don't know. During your turn, your opponents cannot cast spells or activate abilities of artifact, creatures, or enchantments. You wanted no. This is the most no commander in Commander. When it's out, people can't cast spells, activate abilities of creatures, artifacts, or enchantments on your turn. So now, that means you can drop other things that say no on your turn, and no one can say boo about it. So, what are we turning off? First off, we're going to do the general game plan of making sure that people just can't cast things, because we have no counter spells. But, Phyrexian Revoker, pick any card, any non-land card, can't be activated. Tocatli Honor Guard, entering the battlefield triggers, don't trigger. Creatures entering the battlefield don't trigger. Hushwing Gryff. A Containment Priest, if it enters the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it. Oh, what was that? You want to search your library? No. Oh, what was that? You want to cast more than one spell if it's not a Phyrexian? No. Want to draw one more turn? No. You want something leaving or entering the battlefield to trigger? No. You want to draw more than one card? No. You want to cast spells of a specific CMC value? No. Like, that's the whole deck. It's just no's. It's just no. But, oh, what was that? Hold on. Wait, hold on. I didn't hear you. Wait. Let me. No infinites? Okay. Yeah. No infinites. Got it. What was that? Little more? Little louder for me? Oh, you want to win still? You want to win? I thought we were just saying no. Oh, you just mean no infinites. Oh, okay. What was that? A little more there for me? And you want it to be consistent? You don't want to just stack the game. You want to actively play the game even though you're saying no to things? In the command zone already. Whenever my rel attacks, create X 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control. And guess what, everybody? We have a jam-packed deck of no's that are soldiers. Cathar Commando, Tocatli Honor Guard, Mentor of the Meek, Thalia, Thraben, Wyram's Crossing, Mirror Entity, technically, Audric, another Thalia, Aerial Extortionist, again, soldier. So, the deck is full of soldiers that all say no. Now, every time you attack, you're going to get a 1/1 colorless soldier token for every soldier you have. So, realistically, if I get my rel out on turn 3, because I have like 1 mana dork or something like that, and then I attack in on turn 4, having already casted, let's say, Cathar Commando on turn 2, I'll instantly have 2 more soldiers. And that means on turn 5, I'll have 8, unless I cast another soldier. Now, I don't know how much y'all know about math. Y'all heard of a little card called Coat of Arms? Yeah? Coat of Arms. All of them are soldiers. If on turn 5, you have done the bare minimum of casting a rock on turn 1, a soldier on turn 2, and then your commander on turn 3, you can win by turn 5 with Coat of Arms. Or if the game's already been bloody, Coat of Arms. Just on turn 4. But guess what? We have a backup Coat of Arms. Starlight Spectacular. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control 1 at a time until each creature you control has been chosen. Each one of those gets a +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature chosen before it. So it's like a worse Coat of Arms, but still very effective and comes down a turn earlier. Let's go on to more no's. Why don't we? Stony Silence. Artifacts can't be activated. Blind Obedience. Everything enters tapped. Yes, website should be fixed by tomorrow's stream. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, website should be fully finished by tomorrow's stream. Then we have obviously the Rule of Law style effects for more no's. And then the only special land we really do is War Room, just for extra drawing. Everything else kind of takes away from the game plan for the most part that we're zeroing in on. But yeah, welcome to evil. Yes, so the reason I didn't want to turn off untapping specifically is you don't want to be in a situation where wait, hold on. One that doesn't let your opponents untap? Or Gaia Reach, we already have no draw ones as well. We have Spirit of the Labyrinth. I didn't want to go too ham on doubling up effects. Yeah, we don't want it to be global because we want to swing in. Because our main win is swinging. Sorry, I gotta jam a second. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we jamming. Again. I'm not responsible for this. We've been through this. But if you do really want to damage your friend's sanity, you know where to do it. Sure, let's do a hand with it, everybody. We got a hand requested here. So on turn 1, we already have a no. We have Deafening Silence right off the bat. On turn 2, we have no part 2. We have no activated abilities. On turn 3, we have no number 3, Draineth Magistrate. You can only cast 1 spell per turn. You can't activate your creatures, and you can't cast your commander. So, theoretically, your friend on turn 1 was like, ha, I'll play this Mana Dork. And then by turn 2, you went. And then on turn 3, they're like, well, fine, then I'll cast my commander, and you went. And then on turn 4, what do? Dear God. They even try to swing their Mana Dork at you because they're pissed, and then you just cast Demon or Domed Gate. That's awesome. That's awesome. But realistically here, you would play Mentor the Meek to look for other things. That way, next time you cast something, you can draw cards if you find a smaller creature. And then after that, oh my God. Dampening Sphere. Yeah, I'd say this deck does no pretty well. Dear God. Woof. That is awesome. All right, y'all. Let's get into our next deck for Code Exorcist, everybody. Soul is here. Code Exorcist, sound off. It's your deck. Everyone say hi to your local amazing moderator. Absolutely, Scott. I hope you enjoyed. I appreciate you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Gyreek Sanitarium would be pretty sick. What's up? Here we go, y'all. For Soul, Code Exorcist, baby. Electro, I should spell his name right. Electro Assaulting Battery. So, let's read what the submission said. Soul, you said, hello. As you can see from the list above, I already added the basic strategy of the deck. There was around, I think, like 27 to 28 cards in here. And they had added Electro Ashling, Leyline Tyrant, and anything from the new Avatar set that did firebending. So it was all about firebending as much as possible, and then Electro Battery would store the remaining red mana. So it never leaves your floating. And then what this deck needs now, what was asked of me to put in was card draw, interaction, ramp, big spells, and mana base. Please include every card from the list linked in the commander field. Also, as you can guess from the exclamation parts, I hate to not have cards to play. So, and also says no 2-card combos. I only want one of each named character, and I will proxy Electro as Azula. Nice. Nice. All right, y'all. Let's do this. Killingscape. Nice. All right, y'all. So the first thing I did was I put backup Electro Birgi. Birgi allows you to also generate red mana on any spell cast. Birgi is a super awesome addition to Electro. After that, I only added some creatures that would allow for extra combat steps. So we got more firebending, such as Karlach, and then Cavern Hoarder Dragon, which would allow you to have like kind of an ability to still have a little bit of combat pressure if needed, and generate you mana through treasures. After that, I thought the best way to give a good land versus card draw package was to be a little higher on lands than I normally would. I would normally run a lower than this for a deck that already generates such an insane amount of mana. So 35 is a little high, but in mono red, our card draw selections are normally dictated by things that say discard cards, then draw cards. So Faithless Looting, you draw 2, then you discard 2, and it allows you to filter through lands as you need. So I did go just a little higher on the land count than normal, just to make opening hands more consistent. After that, we have been interested in the idea that this deck needs big spells. Crackle with Power is easily the best mono red spell for that. Crackle with Power deals 5 times X damage to up to X targets. So the idea is that you're going to spam all your mana into it and then kill the table. All you need to kill a table of 40 life would be what? It says 5 times what X is. So what? That's not 8. Yeah, it's 8. 16, 20. So you need 26 mana to kill a pod full of all full health people if somehow no one's taken any damage. And that's really not bad in a deck that stores all of its mana back to back to back each, turn, and generates an insane amount through firebending. So I don't think that's impossible. I also don't think it's uncalled for, it's not unheard of. But to generate that level of mana later game for those big spells, I also included Mana Geyser. I also just realized there's a card that came out actually in the Lord of the Rings set. It's like a storm card, and it came out in the big Call of the Tempest. You call forth the Tempest. I think we would enjoy Call Forth the Tempest more than we would enjoy Introduction to Annihilation. I think we should change that. Yeah, so Call Forth the Tempest for 8 mana. Cascade. Call Forth the Tempest deals damage to each creature your opponents control equal to the total mana value of other spells you cast this turn. And so the idea is that it will cascade into a bunch of spells that you end up casting for free, then it deals all that damage to all your opponent's creatures. Oh, it's there to be a lesson. Got it. So we can put that back in. I think we can deal with 1 less land, genuinely, because of how much card draw we have. So, Introduction to Annihilation. There we go. It is the Evangelion. God, I love Evangelion. And if you guys want yourself your own custom deck, head on over to my Patreon, link in the description. It is awesome. Oh yeah, I am listening to a popular anime opening lo-fi mix right now. That's what we threw onto the background. What is up, Jay? What's up, Jason Rules? Glad you're able to catch it. Absolutely. Another large part and what makes a deck like this work really well is it goes infinite so easily, and it's hard to avoid that because obviously, like we talked about, no 2-card infinites, and so aggravated assault is one of the very few things that sadly does go infinite, but is also really cracked. So up to your discretion on it. Ooh, Eureka 7 OST. Oh man, there's so many great anime OSTs. Secondary to our plot line of being able to attack in and generate an insane amount of mana in this deck, a big part is that it does in fact say it's instant and sorceries that make that red mana. So as you can see, we're light down to 15 creatures, and we're actually very heavy on instant and sorceries at a total count of 38 in this deck. But I brought in some secret sauce. Let's say we've made 5 mana by turn 4. We have 5 extra mana in our pool we haven't used up. Not unheard of by turn 5 or turn 4. Just 5 extra mana and Assaulting Battery. Doubling Cube. Once you have over a certain amount of mana, you can pay 3 and double the amount of mana. It is insane. Wealthlore. Hey DefCat, missed the live stream yesterday and was super happy to see my Stranger Things deck. Looking forward to sleeving it up and playing. So happy you enjoyed it. It was a very fun deck to make, and oh my gosh, is it nasty. Those clues are going to be popping, my friend. You're going to have to buy a lot of clues to hand out to people. I would definitely stock up on clues. But yeah, Doubling Cube is just disgusting in this deck. It allows you to double the amount of red mana in your pool. So let's say you've got like 10 red mana. You're going to be able to double that into 14 by tapping for 3, going down to 7, and then up. So that one's really cool. Really like doubling cube. Last but not least, some of the extra tech I added in terms of where we're going for our, like, how do I put it? It'd be awesome if YouTube would give me a notification I asked for. What commanders have you missed? Ozzy Smith, you missed a Myrel horrid, don't bring this to your friends, they will kill you stacks deck by that dude Scott. And then a nasty bracket for mass land destruction of your own lands, Lukewarm Hearthhold deck. Super awesome list. And we're finishing up talking about a mono red proxied as Azula Electro Assaulting Battery firebending list. But yeah, secondary to everything I just talked about, I wanted us to have a more unique interaction package. So I decided, instead of trying to make an interaction package that is heavy on removal, what if we did a redirect package? So we have Redirect Lightning, Deflecting Swat, Fork, which allows you to copy and then choose a new target, Ricochet Trap, and Reiterate. So what I wanted us to be able to do was constantly be like, are you sure you want to point that at me? Are you sure you want to point that at me? And then you like kind of flash the copy or redirect spell in your hand, and you can kind of talk your friends out of, whatever, like removing Assaulting Battery, because they're going to see 13 red mana in your pool. They're going to target you, and you're going to be able to go, nope. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ways to do that in this list. So I thought that'd be a really fun way to use your interaction package in this deck. I thought you'd like that a lot. Next up, we have Will of the Jeskai as our later game Hail Mary. What it allows you to do is, as long as you control your commander, you get to wheel your hand and then use all your instant and sorceries in your graveyard, as they will have flashback. And I'm hoping you can use this as a way to abuse gamble by gambling, and then it's okay if Crackle Power goes to your graveyard, because then you can will the Jeskai instead. And just go get it from your graveyard. So I did want to add some redundancy without adding Breach to the deck and making it just a red spells deck, because in the end of the day, you are still trying to firebend and attack. So I thought that'd be very fun. And then, of course, what's our secondary win con to this? As many of you guys know about this, the Fire Nation turret. We can pay a red to put a charge counter on this artifact, and then remove 50 counters from this artifact, and it deals 50 damage to any target. Boom! And then at the beginning of your combat, up to one target gets +2/+0 and gains firebending 2 until end of turn. So all the creatures that have been added to the deck that don't have firebending become firebenders, for they have entered the Fire Nation. I thought that was really fun. But yeah, this is an extremely flavorful deck, and I think anyone who really likes firebending, you'll really enjoy this. I honestly think that this would be a really good, like, fun video to make. I've been thinking about posting a little deck tech for this one later. I just think, you know, it's like, it's not the most creative thing in the world I've ever made, but it's well themed, it's well packaged, it's consistent to the redirect theme and the charging theme. And I might go a little bit harder on the flavor if I make a video about it. But I wanted to make sure it was functional first. And so right now, this is the version of the deck that I truly believe will be the most functional at FNM with your friends, and you'll have the most fun. But normally when I make videos, I tend to favor flavor first and functionality second. Just that way it rolls off the tongue better in a video, if that makes sense. I think it's more fun. And then when you click the link to the deck, it's normally the more functional version with a couple of the flavor cards omitted, which people have noted when they'll watch one of my videos and be like, hey, that dumb card you added in for that joke in that one section's not in here. I'm like, yeah, it's in the sideboard. All right, y'all. Clout Cobain 2246 Kibo deck. Let's get into Kibo. So, I got asked to help out with a Kibo list that wasn't working. So, let's look at the Kibo list that wasn't working. Let's grab their Moxfield link. Absolutely, Code. It's going to be awesome. So, Kibo, Ukatabi Prince. This is their original list for this, and they asked me to keep the list under 250 euros. So their list is already listed at $500 US. So I did have to make something with even less than what they gave me. But this is their current list. So they said that their Kibo list, let's see here. Kibo is my favorite commander, but I've struggled to make him well. Originally I did Ape, Kindred, and then I made what I have now. This is more trying to give opponents artifacts to destroy, but this hasn't been working lately. I've seen that some people get good results by doing land destruction. I don't mind what theme you use as long as it is one you think that is best for Kibo and it isn't really heavy on land destruction to the point that my friends aren't having fun. So this original list only has 17 creatures. And Kibo says, whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 encounter on each creature you control that's an ape or a monkey. So 17 creatures is just like way too light. And as it says, Kibo's my favorite commander, but I've been struggling to make him do well. Originally, I had it as Ape, Kindred, and then you had now. I think in general, if this deck's gonna work and you want to be heavy on, the destruction of artifacts, you just gotta have more apes and monkeys in this deck, because for the first thing too, when you tap Kibo, it's gonna constantly be giving your opponent's artifacts. We can let them sit there. They'll be fine. So, how are we going to take this list as it is now, as you guys are seeing, and make it into something more successful, as we talked about? Let's show you what I did. So, first off, we bumped it up to 31 creatures. We have way more apes, way more monkeys, but we included a ton of ways to get them out early. We have lots of one-drop mana dorks. We have lots of ways to reduce costs, such as Goblin, Arcanomancer, as well as we're going to be using Herald's Horn. So that's very important to note, because we do want to get these out quickly. But how are we going to get all these apes out and be destroying artifacts? Let's talk about that. Our sorceries package severely shrunk to be things that are mass artifact destruction. We want to do something big. So now we have Pick Your Poison, which each opponent has to sacrifice an artifact for 1 mana. So we're using less cards with bigger effects, and sometimes even less mana. Creeping Corrosion, Vandal Blast with an Overload, and then last but not least, Bane of Progress, if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I didn't notice that there was a new printing of Bane of Progress, and it chose that art. And then when this creature enters, destroy all artifacts and all enchantments, and put a +1/+1 counter on this creature for each permanent destroyed this way. So we have more Hail Marys. Our instance stayed mostly the same, except I wanted to add some flavor cards for fun. Guerrilla Warcry, attacking creatures cannot be blocked by only one creature this turn. Play during combat before defenses, and then draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. So it's a really cool kindred spell that draws you a card, and it's flavorful and fun. You guys know me, I love adding stuff like this into decks. I didn't want to omit this. That would be boring. Next up, we also made sure we have some good enough card draw. So we put in Demand Answers, and then we also added some tutors in the form of Worldly Tutor to grab our stuff. We're going to be using Liquid Metal Torque and Liquid Metal Coating in order to turn our opponent's permanents into artifacts and then destroy them. Super good. And then Tempting Contract, which does ramp for you and gives your opponents more artifacts for us to destroy. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token, but for each treasure token they make, you make one too. And so if everyone makes a treasure token, you make 4. Or sorry, you make 3. Yeah, you make 3. Super good card, especially in casual and fun with friends. This deck, my version of the list, Moxfield says it only costs $234. I'm sure if I do with any printings of this, what is it? It's only $163. So it's super cheap too on top of this. And then of course we're adding +1/+1 counters to our creatures. I think, you know what? We actually have enough money to add Doubling Season to the list. I just realized we came in under budget. We're good to go. So we do get to add it. So we've got Hardened Scales, Branching Evolution, Terra Symbiosis, Primal Vigor, and Doubling Season to help us get more +1/+1 counters. Rhythm of the Wild to either give haste and or give +1/+1 counters, and they can't be countered. A Natural Growth to double them, which, by the way, it does not say double the base power and toughness. It says at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. Bonkers card. Don't know why it's only $3. It's ridiculous. And then Viridian Revel. Whenever an artifact is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card. Super, super helpful, because that means if they even just crack their, clues, anything like that, you draw a card. Super nasty good. Now, what are we going to do in order to make sure that this damage that we're doing to our opponents, which it says, whenever artifact an opponent controls is put in the graveyard, you get a +1/+1 counter on all your creatures. How are we going to make sure we actually get in to do this damage? So we're going to still be needing to lean into some larger slam effects, but I did not want to make this deck a Crater of Slam. I don't know. That's not what we were asked to do with this deck. So we made sure to include a lot of the apes that have a lot of evasion, because there's actually a lot of apes in this game that have things like Forest Walk or Tree Monkey, and things like that. Or not Tree Monkey. That's it can block if things have flying. There was another ape I added today. Yes, and then Summit Apes that gets Menace just for you having a mountain. So I tried to include apes that also have some evasion and get in easy, which is really cool. What's up, Goku Dragonheart? So, what do you do with a deck like Kubo when your friends are playing decks that are going to abuse the ramp that you have? Because you're going to be giving everyone mana effectively in this deck. Between Tempting Contract and our commander, people will put out threats early. You're going to have a lot of ways to defend yourself by not swinging out early with your apes and adding a bunch of +1/+1 counters and keeping it nice and toasty. So you can kind of pillow fort a little bit with that. But secondary to that, Liquid Metal Torque and Liquid Metal Coating will allow you to turn any of their permanents that are scary into an artifact and then blicky them with any of your destroy artifact cards, such as Force of Vigor. So that makes it super nasty. It's super awesome. It's going great, Goku. Thank you for saying that. Or thank you for asking it. It's going quite well. Oh, yeah, big stretch, baby. Woo! But yeah, how we thinking, guys? What we think? Do we cook with this Kubo list? I think we definitely got it to a more functional spot than the original list we took a look at. You know, especially on the flavor aspect, Gorilla Warcry being there, I'm very happy with. I really like that. I think it's really fun to be able to pull in a lot of the Kindred effects like this. It's super cool, especially because a lot of older Kindred effects were in blue, and I feel like there just weren't as many in these colors. Yeah, I really think it's cool that it punches above what it costs to make the deck too. Yeah, I think it's really fun. All right, y'all. Our next deck is for Kingfish. This is a Zerdu list. Let me grab that. So Kingfish, you said, Zerdu the Grey-Hearted. I want it to be fun to play, and I want to give my opponents the worst things ever. 9 lives, Rust Elementals, Illusions of Grandeur, stuff like that. It's a full proxy deck, and you love a fast espresso in the morning. It's one of your favorite coffee orders. Glad to hear. Now I really want coffee. Shoot. I should, I wonder if I should bring my coffee setup to my office. I'm moving in next week to my office. I'm still debating that. Because I don't want to buy another one, because that'd be expensive. But that'd be really cool to have a coffee setup I can do on stream with you guys as we start. Like, make coffee with you and get all cozy. I don't know. That sounds pretty good. I'm just saying, because I love making coffee. I love making coffee for other people. And it's just so dang comfy, you know, relaxing. You got your little mug. And top tier, I'm just saying, S tier right now. If you guys get into coffee, look into tea cracker rolls. Those are S tier snack with coffee. Now, we got better things to donate toward. We're going to be doing the Magic Fights Cancer stream next week, which is going to be awesome. I don't know. I never want to be a streamer that takes donations just to have money. If that makes any sense. Like, hey guys, I want something. Please give me money. Ha ha. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It feels a little weird. But if I'm like, hey, I have a project I want to do for you guys, like the website you guys funded, that was awesome. That's a good use of y'all's money, you know? Because you guys already order. You guys already order enough stuff from me that I make a living. I pay myself right now to be fully transparent, by the way, because I love being transparent in this position, because I think it breaks the illusion of the stupid, like, YouTuber, I pay myself after tax around $32 an hour, and I work 49 hours a week right now, just about 49.50. That's how much I make. Right? Yeah, you feel weird accepting leftovers from the dinner. Yeah, right. That's just weird. You know, I just didn't grow up that way. That's just not how I was born into this earth, you know? But I am really excited to give stuff away next week. It's going to be really cool. Super stoked for that. I can't wait to also be, fully caught up on everyone's decks. That's going to be awesome. And especially being done with shipping. That's going to be amazing. So, everyone, let's talk about Zerdu for a second. This is going to be really exciting. I love to talk about this card. Zerdu is one of the first times that Commander began experimenting with what I would like to call Commander design philosophy. Because originally, Commander design philosophy, if you even want to call it, before Zerdu was printed, was really just, hey, what's something cool that is made cooler because there are other players there? And that was the majority of how things ended up getting designed in precons post 2011, pre 2016. And then I'll have to check who really was hired around this time at Wizards. This began being developed for 2016, because this would have been around 2014 when this precon was actually developed and then printed in 2016. So Zerdu says at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, draw X cards, where X is the number of permanents your opponents control. So Zerdu works absolutely fine in a one-on-one setting, right? But it's funnier with other people there to discuss and talk about who this is going to end up affecting. And I just think that's one of the most interesting sways in design philosophy. And then for red, white, blue, target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. A big part of this was also that it was pip intensive, which makes this deck a lot less mean. If you could imagine a majorly power crept version of Zerdu would say 2 generic and then 1 pip do it. That would make this deck busted. If you didn't have to have the 3 pip of every different pip requirement on this. Zerdu would be nasty. One, you could lower the cost of the activated ability using generic cost reducers like not training center, training grounds and things like that, which would be absolutely busted. But I just feel like this is one of the most well-balanced Mario Party type style cards. You know what I mean? Like, it's really got the Mario Party vibe to it, which is just really fun and really enjoyable. And so I wanted to do everything I could to make this deck feel like that the majority of what you do is still handing things off and it being detrimental, but not trying to gamify this commander into being the perfect commander. Like, I'm not trying to like abuse its mechanic. So the point of that being, I was asked in this forum, this order I got from this person, they specifically want to hand off cards that are obsessively annoying to deal with. That's the point. It's not to maximize the commander, which is what a lot of people do when they build Zerdu. They just constantly trade and give away random permanents you control that make other permanents, and will we're just maximizing the ability to draw cards and gain life at the beginning of your upkeep with Zerdu. But the point of this version of this deck, what I was asked to do, was to pass around annoying things. So we gave up a lot of card slots within this build that generally, if you were asking me to build the best Zerdu deck possible, I would have 100% never omitted, but we did for the purposes of making the deck more fun to the theme. So before we go into it, if you're like, yo, what about this Zerdu staple, idiot? I'm going to be like, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go. So getting into that, let's talk about the horde amalgamations we're about to throw at our friends. Curse of Exhaustion. Enchanted player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. That one's fun. And guess what? You don't even have to use Zerdu for it. You can just cast it on them. Haha. My favorite one to give someone, because they don't realize just how awful it is until a turn or two later. Aggressive Mining. You can't play lands, sacrifice a land, and draw 2 cards. I gave this to someone on turn 5, and they looked at me like I was so stupid. Like, I was like, yeah, you can't play lands, but hey, you can draw 2 cards when you sack a land. They instantly sacked a land the next turn and the turn after that. And then they were sitting on 3 lands for the rest of the game. And the best part is they know they did that to themselves. They never had to sack those lands. They had cards in hand. They were just like, ha ha ha, I'm going to show you why you're dumb and do it. No. Next, Delusions of Mediocrity. Goated card and goated card name. When Delusions of Mediocrity comes into play, you gain 10 life. When it leaves play, you lose 10 life. So, for 4 mana, gain 10 life. And for 3 mana, give it to your opponent to make them lose 10 when it's gone. I love it. I love it. Form of the Dragon. At the beginning of your upkeep, Form of the Dragon deals 5 damage to a target player. At the beginning of each turn, your life total becomes 5. Or at the end of each turn, your life total becomes 5. Oh, I love it. I love it. So this deck popped off when I got to play it during testing. And Form of the Dragon was the way I ended up winning the game, because it was down to me and one other player, and I'd already made them miserable. And I had it to where they can only cast 1 spell per turn. They had Curse of Exhaustion. And then I put Form of the Dragon on them. And so at the beginning of their upkeep, when their life total was already 5 from the previous turn, they just shot themselves. They were so done. Oh. It was a good time. It was a very good time. I enjoyed watching someone be that defeated in a game of Commander. After that, we do want to stay alive, but as you can see, we're packing some pretty hardcore counter magic to make sure that happens. And I'm going to talk to you about why. We got Counterspell, Deflecting Swat, and here's the big thing. Notice, all of these counterspells but one are hard counters. Counterspell counters anything. Delay counters anything. Force of Will counters anything. Even Arcane Denial counters anything. The only 2 that don't are Fierce Guardianship and Swan Song. But we are worried about someone getting too far ahead in the game, because we're trying to keep an equal playing field and toss things around to people. And if someone kind of escapes the pillow prison you're starting, it can be worrisome. So sometimes you really do need to counter the Crater Hoof, you know? And so you do need something significant. The good thing is you have cards like this. Smoke. No player may untap more than 1 creature during his or her untap phase. And as you can see, we ain't doing much with the creatures. We got 11. And half of them don't do diddly, and we're supposed to give them away anyway. So we don't care. So that's really good for us. If anything, and a lot of people do this, they play Stasis in this deck. I wasn't trying to make an unfun deck, so I didn't put Stasis in here. But that is a thing you can do. And then we got Propaganda and Ghostly Prison to keep us alive. Let's go put the cool Ghostly Prison art in here so people know about it. Yeah. I love that Ghostly Prison art from Kamigawa. So awesome. Yeah. Yeah, baby. So pretty. Such a cool concept. And then we got Solitary Confinement. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Solitary Confinement unless you discard a card. You skip your draw step. You have Shroud. Prevent all damage that will be dealt to you. So the big thing about Solitary Confinement. Let's talk about this with Zerdu for a second. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Solitary Confinement unless you discard a card. You skip your drop step. You have Shroud and prevent all damage that will be dealt to you. This is sorcery speed Teferi's Protection with an upkeep cost of discard a card or 3 mana. So what I like to do with Solitary Confinement is cast it in my main phase, and then later on use it as a bargaining chip with whoever is behind in the game, and use Zerdu to give it to them. So if someone's really far behind and I'm up against the other 2 players that are really far ahead, I've used Solitary Confinement as a way to get someone on my terms. And again, I'm not doing this to like randos in public and like socially manipulating people. These are me and my friends chatting. Like, just don't get me wrong when I talk about politicking in terms of Commander. You know, we're here to have a good time. After that, we have Possibility Storm. Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it. Then exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he exiles a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast the card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she puts all card exiles the Possibility Storm from his or her library in a random order. So, again, you aren't going to get to cast the spell you cast. You cast the spell and it exiles, and then you cascade into something with the same type. That's the fun of it. So I like this card because when people try to break the pillow prison that you've created, this stops them from doing so. And for you, you don't really care what junk you're going to give somebody. You just want to give them junk. So you're perfectly happy casting something and then waiting to see what else you get. And on top of that, it doesn't say mana type. It says, or mana value. It just says type. So you can like do bonkers stuff with this and cast possibility. So you have possibility sort. Let's say I cast Darksteel Mutation for 2 mana. It can possibility store into Shadow of the Second Sun. Just to be clear. That's pretty dope. So, what is the win condition of a deck like this? We have a couple ways. So we have Alexios as a way to constantly battle and attack the table. That is one of our main ways we're going to be winning. Slicer should also be in here. That is a little weird. We fix that. So we have Slicer, Hired Muscle, and Alexios as a way to pass around things and deal damage. But the biggest thing is we are using those 2 creatures to pass around and kill people, while Zerdu themselves draws us cards and gains us life. That way we don't end up being one of the first people to go down. After that, there are a lot of cards that drain life or end up straight up almost kill people, like Form of the Dragon in this list. So you want to make sure you try and find, Delusions of Mediocrity, Form of the Dragon. And then outside of that, it's general resource denial. But one of the funnier ways to kill someone is with Transcendence. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. Cast Transcendence and then immediately give it to one of your friends. When you have 20 or more life, you lose the game. It's hilarious. It is so funny. So you'll have less than 20. You'll be sitting there chilling at like 15 life. You cast this and then give it to your friend with more than 20 life and they lose the game. That's hilarious. It's really funny. After that, we are going to be using things like Gilded Drake to steal things away, because one, they gain control of the Gilded Drake, meaning now they have one of your permanents and then you've stolen it, and then that allows Zerdu to do more. One of my favorite things to give away that not a lot of people think about is Cinder Giant, and I'm still trying to figure out if this is like CGI art, and I wanted y'all's opinion. Let's get an even bigger Cinder Giant. I can't tell if it's a painting or if it's like really old. No, it's definitely a painting. Yeah, 100,000% it's a painting. It just kind of has that lighting of like early CGI, doesn't it? So strange. It just looks like early 2000s CGI. Very odd. Yeah, exactly. So strange. Yeah. Awesome. On our last deck for today, as I did have a shortened day needed today, so because I am going to be helping run a worship practice tonight at church, is for Zombie, it's going to be Arthur Marigold, and let's talk about this submission. So, Zombie, you said run with the title of the deck, which is Little Arthur's Big Army. Yeah, it's something you'd only see using Microsoft 7. Yeah, Windows 7. I don't know. It kind of looked kind of late XP-ish to me. Do people... Windows 7 still feels so good to me. I'd use Windows 7 right now if it was still being maintained. I loved Windows 7. I think that was still the best edition of Windows. So, Arthur Marigold Knight says, whenever Arthur Marigold Knight and at least one other creature attack, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in any order and return that creature to its owner's hand at the end of combat. Everybody, we don't want to return that creature to our hand at the end of combat. We want to show that we can cheat things out and keep it. So, we wanted to run with the deck name, which is Little Arthur's Big Army. So Little Arthur here is going to be putting out Ancient Gold Dragon, Ancient Silver Dragon, Astral Dragon, Ancient Copper Dragon, Inferno Titan, Moonshaker Cavalry, Sun Titan, all the Titans, all the Dragons, the Gear Hulks, the Havison Angel of Hope, the Absolute Virtue, a Chroma, a Vision, Aurelia War Leader. You name it. We're going to be slamming some big meanies. But, we have to remember, Arthur says, whenever Arthur, Marigold Knight, and at least one other creature attack. So the whole deck cannot just be big boys. We need little boys in this deck. We need our little doodads along with our big guys. So I wanted to show you guys what it was like to cut for something you need here live for a little bit. I thought we'd have some fun. I know, sue me, fun in the street, I know. So, what do we need in a list like this in order to make use of the commander the best? We need ways to flicker the creature before the end of combat and after damage. So if Astral Dragon gets put into play with Arthur, Astral Dragon will have to go back to hand at the end of combat. So, before end of combat, at instant speed, we will cast Essence Flux. It will exile the Astral Dragon and put it back onto the battlefield before the turn, before the combat step ends, meaning it is now a new instance of Astral Dragon. It wasn't put there with the ability anymore. Now, it was put onto the battlefield with Essence Flux, so it doesn't have to be returned to hand. So, now that we know that, we know we need the big boys, we know we need our commander, and we know we need ways to flicker those big creatures. What can we deal without in a deck like this? Right? We can actually deal with less card draw because our commander itself is the way we do a lot of the card drawing. But we also want mana acceleration. So big score, an unexpected windfall, give us mana, and draw us cards. We really like that. And then like Might of the Meek. Target creature gains trample +1 till end of turn and draw a card. So this helps us slam in for big wins. So what we can actually deal less with here, because we're such a threat, is mana drain. We can do without Fierce Guardianship. Flawless Maneuver, we want to, keep our creatures and it's free. Totally fine. Arcane Denial. We can probably actually keep Fierce Guardianship instead, not Arcane Denial. And then Teferi's Protection. So that's really good. Deflecting Spot, really good. Akroma's Will, really good. Allows us to swing in. So our instants, we took out 2 instants. That's great. So let's call the sorceries now. Calamity of Cinders. Convoke. Calamity of Cinders deals 6 damage to each untapped creature. So if we ever want an asymmetrical board wipe, this allows us to be able to swing in next turn really easily. This is super helpful. We love that. Faithless Looting. We don't need the card draw anymore. We know our commander is going to get that done for us, so we can take that out. Same with Preordain. Rite of Flame gets us to our commander faster. We love it. Vandal Blast allows us to destroy artifacts when people stop us from swinging. Awesome. Wheel of Fortune, don't need it. Let's go into our artifacts. Good for color fixing. Good for color fixing. Great for the deck because we can copy a creature before it goes back. Good for color fixing. Good for getting our commander out. This Scroll Rack and Sensei's allows us to put things on top of our library that we want, but Sensei's only looks 3 deep. It's not great for this. Scroll Rack does, so we take out Sensei's. And then good for mana fixing. Aggravating Assault, great. Goes infinite with one of our creatures too. Two of our creatures. Imposter Syndrome makes a copy of what we're cheating out, so we get to keep it. Awesome. Aquarius Form and Penance. Penance is really cool. If you get one of the creatures you want to cheat out with your commander, you can put it on top of your library with Penance. Also, freaking awesome art. Is there a list of decks being shown today? This is the last one for today, and then we're going to do more tomorrow. Today was Zombie, Kingfish, Clout Cobain, Code Exorcist, That Dude Scott, and Lookum. But there's going to be a big deck post tomorrow on the Discord, so be ready for that. So we've done our culling, and now we have an extra 6 slots. I was hoping for 7. We're on 35 lands. We'll deal with 1 less land. And now let's add in our little doodads that we need. So the first one I would say for this deck, because it is in red and it's awesome, obviously Ragavan. After that, we want to get some card draw in here. So let's grab ourselves an Esper Sentinel. And then we're also in blue. So we're going to add another creature that we feel comfortable attacking with. I'm going to go with Ledger Shredder and Fairy Mastermind. Another creature that's small and gives us great advantages within red, white, blue that I would like to see in here personally is Archivist of Ogma. Any chance you'd be able to say if my Marchesa list is tomorrow? DM me on Discord and I'll check that for you. I always forget how to spell Ogma. How do I spell Archivist of Ogma? Okay, Archivist of Ogma. Good lord. Was it wrong again? Goodness gracious. Oh, as long as you're a patron, you can get into my Discord by just logging in to Discord. It should automatically link you. If not, just email me at my email. So Archivist of Ogma is really great. I also don't want to be low on lands, so let's do Deep Root, or the Terraform Gnome, or what's the gnome called? Deep Gnome Terramancer. That'll be really helpful. After that, another small creature that really helps us get ahead. What's another really good one here at low CMC value that we like within this? Probably Selfless Savior. That way we can sack it to give one of our creatures indestructible if needed as well. There we go. And so the reason I wanted to do this live is what I had written down in my notes from when I made this list, and then I went and did testing for it earlier, was that it needed more low CMC creatures in order to activate the commander. And so I wanted to show you guys what it's like to do that kind of extra testing there at the end. But guys, thank you so much for watching stream today. Very much appreciate it. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over an insane amount of lists and get into a good chunk of the December submissions, as well as some of the January. So thank you guys again for going on and going to my Patreon and actively purchasing decks. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching stream today, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.